Okay, we're going to be examining the Brian Green Chromatic Bebop exercise on YouTube that he plays very fast and the vast majority of people couldn't understand from the lesson. First thing we're going to do is examine the music to understand what is actually happening. Alright, I'm going to cover the first 4 bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, because the secret of the whole lick is based in these first 4 bars, and the last 4 bars are almost exactly the same except for the last ball. The last 4 bars are the same as the first 4 but just played in a higher octave. Anyway, without further ado, let's get down to business. The first thing we have to look at is the first incline. If we look at the melodic contour here, we have what's called a C dominant 7th arpeggio, which is basically C, E, G, B flat, which sounds like this. And then the C7 dominant arpeggio has 2 extensions, which is 9 and 11. And what's actually happening here is that the first beat of the second bar, the downbeat, is Z here, which is the 3rd of C. This is our first target note. And when I say target note, all these notes here are called approach notes. And they're arranged as an enclosure, because if you look at E here, you'll see that both the F and the D are either side of the E, so it's called an enclosure. And these two notes are called chromatic passing tones. So basically what happens is we're approaching this E, the 3rd, with notes above and below it, and the voice leads smoothly into the note, which gives the effect of this. Right, okay, so we got to the third now, the E. We're into the second bar now, and our next target note is going to be here, C. And again, we come down from E, D, D flat, B natural here, and again we have what's called a chromatic enclosure. We have a note, a semitone above the target note C, and a note, a semitone below the target note. Here is B natural. So this is the sort of effect we're getting. Now when we put the whole thing together, we get this effect. This is to get to the C here, from middle C here to high C above middle C here. This is the first part of the run. Let's hear what that sounds like. So that gives us the first part. Right. The next thing we're headed for now, we're at the C. High C, that is, above middle C. Our next target note is going to be 5 here in the next bar. So we're going to get from C to 5. Again, we have some chromaticism here. This is actually part of what's called a C Mixolydian bebop scale, where we have C, C natural, C flat to the 6, which gives us this effect. Right, now our target note here in the 3rd bar, the 5, is again enclosed by 2 chromatic enclosure notes. Flat 6 and flat 5. Okay, let's see how that whole thing sounds from C, running from C. Okay. Okay, so we've now got to the 5. Our next target note is going to be the 3 here. So really, the 2 main target notes in this bar, bar 3, are the 5th and the 3rd, which is E. 5th being G, obviously. Okay, let's hear how that sounds with the chromatic enclosures to get to the 3rd here. Now you notice this note, this group of notes here is exactly the same as this group of notes here. Just did a in a lower register, you know, just above middle C as it were, whereas this is above high C. Right, so our next target note after we've reached the third, the E here, our next target note is going to be C in the fourth bar, and that's where we'll conclude today's lesson. So assuming we're on the third now, let's hear how it sounds from the third, get into the high C above middle C here. Again we have a chromatic enclosure approaching the C. And the bar and the line fin at the bar finish with again a segment from the what's called the Mixolydian bebop scale, C Mixolydian bebop scale. So running from the third, let's hear that. Okay, let's hear the whole line now from middle C here to A. This is the first 4 bars. Once we learnt this first 4 bars, the subsequent 8 bars, it's a 12 bar lick. The subsequent 8 bars will be much easier to understand. All the information you need is contained within the first 4 bars. Really, when you look at it, you need to look at, even if you don't read music that well, you know, you need to see the chord tones. You see, you've got a chord tone here, E, which is enclosed. You can see just by, even if you don't read music, you can see these notes up above and below the C. Again, you can see these enclosure notes above and below the C here. Yet again, we can see the chromatic enclosures above and below the fifth, the G here. And again we see enclosure notes enclosing the E here, above and below. Yet again, more enclosures above the either side of the high C here. And that's basically what this lick is. It's about sort of using enclosures to make what would otherwise be a fairly dull melodic contour, to make it interesting, so it zigzags up and down to create interest. Okay, the next lesson I'll be actually demonstrating these first 4 bars on the guitar. Okay, cheers.